What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Unk TV. I am your host, Jay Wilson. Man, make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bell so that you can get updated on the latest videos coming out. Hey, Ukraine, Russia, Zelensky, Putin. What's going on with you guys, man? I thought Trump was straightening this thing out, man. Russia just sent a massive air attack. It said it's the second biggest one or the second one biggest to the first one or something like that over there in Ukraine, hitting civilians and all. Let's get into this video and we're gonna elaborate on it. We're gonna go over this together and we're gonna give our opinion over here on TV because, man, we need to stop the fighting, man. We need to stop the war. Get to the money.
Russia's war with Ukraine is another conflict that the Trump administration has vowed to end, but efforts to do so are struggling to gain traction. Ukrainian officials say at least 18 people were killed and dozens were wounded overnight in what has been described as a massive attack on the capital. An urgent search is underway for anyone who still may be trapped. CNN's Salma Abdelaziz following this story for us. And the Russian attack comes as a Ukrainian delegation is set to meet with US officials on Friday for talks in ending this war. Where are we at this point? What more can you tell us?
Well, if you're asking, Becky, how President Putin has responded to these peace efforts, well, President Zelensky says, here is your answer. One of the largest attacks on Kyiv since the start of the conflict. Nearly 600 Russian drones and 30 missiles fired overnight at the capital. In some parts of the city, people were under air raid sirens for 9 hours. At least 19 people killed so far, among them several children. The youngest is just 2 years old. There are still rescue workers digging through the rubble, Becky. There was 500 rescue workers and 1,000 policemen on the ground. It gives you a sense of the scope and scale of this attack, which hit residential buildings, kindergartens. It even struck a European Union mission building and a building for the British Council. And both the EU and the UK have called Russian diplomats to ask them about these attacks. That's why you've heard President Zelensky today pointing to these attacks and saying, look, it is clear that President Putin is not serious about peace. He says that President Putin is choosing ballistic missiles over the negotiating table. And of course, the timing of this is extremely important, Becky. It comes just as EU defense ministers are supposed to be meeting in Copenhagen today and tomorrow to discuss security guarantees. There's also further meetings at the White House as well to discuss those security guarantees. This would be a backstop measure, essentially, that if Russia and Ukraine are to reach a peace deal, these security guarantees would provide Ukraine with that insurance if it were attacked again. But Russia has already said it does not accept security guarantees. It's not involved in, and it will not accept any foreign forces on the ground. Now, as we see these continued attacks take place on the ground and this diplomatic effort stall, what we're watching here is a tried and true Russian response. Diplomatic efforts stalling while the offensive on the ground intensifies and those drones and missiles continue to rain down on Ukraine.
Okay, so you kind of got a breakdown of it right there. She basically, this is CNN, so they basically touched on everything. But there's a lot going on with the Russia-Ukraine thing. And I'm not just all the way familiar with it, so we're going to break this down and go through it together. I do know one thing. You have President Trump, and he's been trying to stop this thing since he's been in office. He campaigned on it. He came in office saying, hey, if I was in office, it would have never started. Once I'm back in office, it would be over in the first 7 days. This is one of the campaign promises that Trump made that hasn't came into fruition yet. We haven't seen it happen yet. Everything else, we've been seeing it happen. You might not know about it because of your news sources, because Trump is hated by a lot of people, strongly hated by Democrats and liberal voters. But President Trump has been working on it. Him and his administration, they've been doing deal after deal. They've been having, I know, at least 2 or 3 ceasefires that's been broken every time. So this is just another part of breaking another ceasefire, breaking a deal. The deals aren't working. And I wonder what Trump's going to do. But right here, as you see, I got it right here in the post beside you. Trump said it on Fox News. It was just a few hours ago. He said, I want to try and get to heaven. He said, if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. And that just lets you know the severity of this war that's happening. And it's been going on for years, man, decades. These people have never gotten along. I got more information about it for you guys, but man, these people, they have never really gotten along, man. This war's been going on for a long time. And Zelensky says he needs no less than $1 billion per month now. $1 billion a month to continue funding the war with Russia. That he's asking for a lot. That is a lot of money, man. I think he's going to have to go look somewhere else because America, $1 billion a month, us funding him $1 billion a month. Come on, man. Come on, man. $1 billion a month. We've been funding him. We've been helping him. I remember when J.D. Vance and all of those guys, when he was when he came to visit in the Oval Office, they said he was very disrespectful and J.D. Vance's reason for saying that is because he wasn't really showing appreciation for the help that he was already getting. So I feel like the American people feel the same way now. Hey, man, you need $1 billion a month. That's what you're asking for right now to continue to fund this war against Russia. And the American people America's pockets are closed. Our wallets are closed. Our banks are closed. Our federal government is closed. But I think that the American people would agree that we don't want to fund your war anymore. I'm not sure what participation we're going to get out of it, what type of profit we're going to get out of you if you beat Russia, or what we're going to get out of it if Russia beats you. I'm not even sure what we have to do with this. It might have to do with oil prices and all of that type of stuff, or something that's going on to where we have to have some type of dealing. If you don't know anything about politics, you should know that it's a you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. It's never a one-way street, except for when it came to those tariffs and stuff. That's the only thing. We were on a one-way street. We were paying to sell our goods in other countries, like China, for example. And China was selling their goods over here in America. They were making a killing. And they was also charging us to sell the goods over there. I think I got another video for you guys. This right here is a little bit different. It has to do, let's see what the White House press secretary has to say. So we're going to get that together and we're going to build on that a little bit. We're going to pause it, rewind it. And a morally bankrupt reaction from Trump and his administration to Russia's attack on Ukraine last night. Morally bankrupt reaction. That's how that was stated. So we're going to jump into this and see what this is like. The volume might be a little low. I'll try to turn it up, but let's get into it.
General Keith Kellogg, the president's special envoy, has described these attacks as egregious. Do you agree with that description, and do you view President Putin as an impediment to getting peace between these two countries?
Well, it's not about if I agree, it's about what the president thinks, and I know what the president thinks because I talked to him about this. He was not happy about this news, but he was also not surprised. These are two countries that have been at war for a very long time. Russia launched this attack on Kyiv, and likewise, Ukraine recently dealt a blow to Russia's oil refineries. They have taken out, as a matter of fact, 20% of Russia's oil refinery capacity over the course of their attacks throughout the month of August. So the president is continuing to watch this intently, and this killing, unfortunately, will continue as long as the war continues, which is why the president wants it to.
So that's the end of that video. I don't know why they cut it so short, like in the middle of her statement. I'll see if I can find more on it. But as you can see, the war is going on. It's still going. It doesn't seem like there's any daylight to the war. Ukraine has hit Russia's oil refineries and taken out at least 20% of those of Russia's oil refineries, man. So they're hitting targeted places in Russia to stop the funding of Russia. So it's just like anything else. If you hit the pockets, you can kind of cripple them a little bit to where they can't fight as hard. That's the way it goes with war. You know, in physical combat, it's like breaking somebody's leg or breaking somebody's arm or wrist, or when somebody throw a punch, you throw an elbow to where they punch your elbow and break their knuckle. That way you can cripple them out by the hand and they can't fight as hard as they normally would. The same strategies that they use in war. So the press secretary, she basically said that Trump was not happy about the news, you know, but he was also not surprised. He wasn't surprised about it. These are two countries that they've been at war for a very long time, and Russia launched this attack on Kyiv, and likewise Ukraine recently dealt a blow to Russia's oil refineries, and that's basically what she was speaking of. So there's a lot of coverage on this war. So I'm gonna pull up some more videos of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, first you got to acknowledge that it's good that Trump is not happy. You know, they say Russia, they say, I think in that other video, they say they killed 18 civilians. I heard that there was 4 children killed. You know, so there's no way that Trump could be happy about that. And I truly believe that, you know, if he ends this war, that could possibly do what he wishes, what his goal is, to try to get into heaven. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, we got Canada getting in on this, man. They're involved. Do they got a president or a prime minister? Whatever his name. I know his name is Carney. And we're about to, let's see
greatest
something.
impact, and we will do so.
Let's see if we can get this video. See what Carney has to say about this whole thing. If you don't know him, that's Carney, Prime Minister, President, over there in Canada. And you know how our relations been with Canada lately. They've been very, very up and down, trying to get them as a 51st state. I read something the other day that was saying that might not be a good idea. Like there could be some trickery in there somewhere. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Let's get into Carnegie, see what he has to say about this.
In parallel, we're investing today $2 billion in new military assistance for Ukraine.
So he's sending $2 million to Ukraine. That's the first thing that he said. You got Canadians over there skipping meals. 60% of Canadians say cost of living is the crisis over there in Canada. But you got him sending, did he say 2 million or 2 billion? I'm not sure. Let's go back. But it sounded like he said 2 mil. Hold on. 2 mil a month. Get that right. 2 mil a month. So you might be thinking 2 mil. Jay, you tripping. You know he didn't say 2 mil. He said 2 bill. I think he said 2 mil. And we're talking about a month to help Ukraine with this $1 billion a month goal that they're trying to reach. They're basically campaigning to the other states, the other countries. Hey, if you want to help Ukraine, we need $1 billion a month to fund and fuel this war that we're trying to win against Russia. Let's hear what he got to say. Listen closely. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leave your thoughts down in the comments section. I think you said 2 mil, but let's hear the 2 bill.
In parallel, we're investing today $2 billion in new military assistance for Ukraine.
$2 billion going to Ukraine for new military assistance. That's weaponry. That's tanks. And anything else they need. A blatant, strong show of I side with Ukraine. Canada, corny, sides with Ukraine. I wonder how Russia feel about that. Let's rock out.
800 million of this will help strengthen Ukraine's arsenal for the most urgently needed defense equipment, drones, ammunition, armored vehicles. And we had a discussion today about specifying and targeting that assistance where it will have the greatest impact, and we will do so.
So 800 million of that 2 billion is going towards the weaponry that I was just speaking of. Drones, planes, tank, whatever, 800 million. Hey man, Canada's stepping out there boldly. He said he been talking with his administration. Hey, this is what we gonna focus on. 800 million of this is going to this. They want Ukraine to win. Canada does. Keep Canada in your memory. You might hear about something about that later. I know Putin, he's not happy with that. Is Canada a part of NATO? Signed with NATO? Because I know NATO kind of been on the Ukraine side and all of that. I don't know if anybody's trying to help stop it. Only person I know of that's coming out and saying, hey, I want the war to end is Trump and his administration. Shout out to Trump and his administration for trying to end wars and not continue to fund, fuel, and funnel weaponry to Ukraine to keep the war going. Let's get back to it.
As the president mentioned, we're proud to be the first non-European nation to participate in NATO's Pearl program, the package of the most urgently needed military assistance that will be delivered here next month. We'll also fund over $200 million for the joint production of defense materials in our two countries, particularly advanced drones using Canadian suppliers.
So Canada is sending advanced drones. 200 million is going to advanced drones to send to Ukraine so that Ukraine can use the advanced drones. Advanced. Anything that is advanced is higher than normal. So this is going to be better than the regular drones that they're using. Probably better drones than Russia. That's probably their plan. That's why they're investing $200 million into it. I need to get into drones. I need to invest in drones myself. He handing $200 million over to get them advanced drones over there. I think I can make an advanced drone. Back to it.
Another 165 million for critical multilateral efforts, including, again, enhancing drone resources, as well as more money for humanitarian assistance to support civilians affected by this horrific war. This support is consistent with our support for Ukraine throughout the decades. It's also part of our broader approach, our new government's broader approach to step up our role in collective security for Ukraine, in Europe, with our NATO partners, and around the world. Because leadership requires not just the strength of our values, but the value of our strength. Canada has what the world needs: productive industry, highly trained military personnel, a wealth of natural resources. And we have a heart. As co-chair of the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children, Canada will intensify its work with Ukraine, European partners, and the United States to secure the immediate and unconditional release of those children. We welcome the United States' recent efforts to secure long-term peace for Ukraine and for Europe. And we'll continue to work intensively with our international partners in the coalition of willing to build on these initiatives. In doing so, we emphasize that the approach for securing peace must remain consistent with these principles of no decisions about Ukraine being taken without Ukraine, and no decisions about Europe being taken without Europe.
So basically, he's saying that, they're going to get on that podium and they're going to get up there and they're going to make it sound good. They're going to make it sound like, hey, it's all about humanitarian efforts and saving people and looking out for the civilians over there in Ukraine and, all of that. But I'm going to tell you something, man. Canada has their own problems. Like I said, man, 60% of Canadians say the cost of living is a crisis over there. So I think they got bigger fish to fry right there at home in Canada while they're focused on sending all of this money to Ukraine. I think it's like only 7% of Canadians are worried about Russia and Ukraine. Canada is broke. They're over there broke. And Carney is focusing his energy into the wrong spaces, man. So, I got a lot of footage of Russia. They just conducted the second largest air raid on Ukraine. The second largest air raid on Ukraine, I think, is mostly drone strikes since the start of the war. This right here, this attack that Russia just led, it involved hundreds of drones and missiles, including hypersonic missiles. I explained in the previous video what hypersonic means. I kind of broke that down. Several strategic targets were obliterated in this attack. So, man, let's get into this right here and see what we're talking about. I think I got a video of a hypersonic missile attack right here. It's only a few seconds long, but it'll give you an idea of what hypersonicism. Is that a word? Hypersonicism. This is a hypersonic missile, ladies and gentlemen, coming straight in from Russia, leveling out. This was in Kyiv. You see that? Oh, that was just a fire right there. Let's see if we can go back. Let me go find that, man. There we go. So this is going to be the video right here. I think that's the video. Where they blow the sky away. So yeah, it's going down over there, man. Just to give you a little bit of it right there. Let me see. I got another video for you guys. Kaboom! It's good. Hey, man. We got a lot of fire and stuff going on over there, man. That's another one. The fires in Kyiv are still going. So, man, they hit them hard over there. They hit them hard over there in Ukraine. Russia smashed the Ukrainian railways logistic hub in the, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, man, in the Vinnytsia region. This is what it looked like before. That's what it looks like now after the Russian bombing. So Russia carried out strikes against the rocket and space industry assembly plant in Kyiv. The Russian strikes have been real. They've been coming. And this right here is the Russian army, as you can see. They've been standing very strong, very diligent, And while it's tragic that the innocent lives are lost, it's clear that Russia has been strategically precise in its strikes. This conflict could have been avoided entirely if Zelensky had agreed to the Istanbul deal. If you don't know nothing about Istanbul, I believe that's a country over there in the Middle East. So the meddling of Victoria Nuland and Boris Johnson urging Zelensky not to sign was nothing short of foolish. That's the word on the street. So they saying that this war never needed to unfold. NATO and the EU, Europe, have played the biggest roles in instigating this proxy war. Now that the gloves are off, don't expect to complain or mourn the consequences. The Russians have reached their limit with Zelensky's threats and arrogance. So I guess they talking to all of NATO. That's what it sounds like to me. They letting them, hey, it's going down. It's no more talking. Gloves are off. We bombing, we warn, and we got our military ready. It's like you may not be Russian, but it's time to recognize the reality of the situation. And this is the Russian army right here. Look at them. Strong, man. Hooah! 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 That sounds dangerous. That sounds dangerous. That sounds dangerous, man. There's so much going on over here. Let me see. I know I got some more. Hold on. This ain't updated on me yet. So I thought I had some more. Give me my videos, man. We're going to go here. We're going to come back there and get us some time to update. I got it updated right here. I know what we got to do. We got to go home. We got to go here. Bookmarks. No, it's got to be back up. So there we have it, man. The Russian war is crazy. Trump's advisor is saying that Russia-Ukraine conflict is Modi's war, not Putin's. It's a lot going on with this war. They're saying that the Trump advisor is in front of the camera begging Modi to stop buying Russian oil. America is not a friend but a snake. Oh my God, what is that? What are they talking about? Zelensky predicted that the war would happen at the quarter of a century ago. NATO has no other plans than to set Europe on fire through a war with Russia, but they will not fight Russia directly. Instead, they will bomb from Ukraine as well as from the Middle East and the Far East. So that means that the Ukraine is using the Middle East and Far East. Those are the allies. They can occupy that territory, and that's where they can shoot their missiles from. If you remember, in the beginning of this war, Russia did not want Ukraine to join forces with NATO because that happened before, centuries ago. I think it had like the Cold War or before the Cold War and all of that. When Ukraine was allies with NATO, the other countries that had interest in Russia and wanted to invade Russia, they used Ukraine as a backdoor to squeeze right into Russia. Because Ukraine and Russia are neighbors. So they use that as a weak point to come in and bomb and destroy Russia. I know there's plenty of other videos on this right here. I'm going to let y'all check this one out. This is Fox News. We're going to get this set up for you, and we're going to let y'all look at this and see what you come up with. What's your thoughts on this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow Unk TV. Turn on that notification bell so you can get notified when we drop these awesome, awesome videos keeping you updated on what's going on in the world right now.
Welcome back. President Trump says he still thinks he can end Vladimir Putin's war on Ukraine, but now he's also saying his much hoped for one-on-one meeting between Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky might not happen. Take a listen.
I believe that we're going to get that war straightened out. We're going to get it done. I don't know that they'll meet. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. They'd like me to be at the meeting. I said, you guys ought to work it out. It's between you. It's not us.
All right, so last week, let's go ahead first and bring in, I'm jumping into this segment because I'm excited to get it started. But here's Michael Allen. He's former National Security Council Senior Director under President George W. Bush. Great to have you on set with me.
Thank you.
Last week, President Trump was like, it's very clear. We are going to have a one-on-one meeting, then I'm going to join them for a meeting, and then out of that, we're going to have this peace deal. Now it seems like the course he's charting is not as certain. Does that concern you?
It concerns me a little bit. First, I'm glad the president is investing his personal time and prestige into this. I'm glad he got the Europeans into the act. He's got the Europeans paying the bill, and he's not fallen for any of Putin's insistence that Ukraine give away territory. But I think what's happening now is that the Ukrainians are losing more than a symbolic amount of territory each month. I think Putin believes that he's making concrete, more than incremental gains. And so I think he has an extra incentive to keep the war going. So he doesn't want to meet with Zelensky. He doesn't want to do anything that would seem to say, you know what, I'm ready to end this war.
The president, though, is not to be deterred. He's looking at adding more foreign policy hotspots to the portfolio, the agenda right now. Take a listen to what he said about North Korea just a couple hours ago.
I look forward to meeting with Kim Jong-un in the appropriate future. I get along with him really well. I think he has a country of great potential, tremendous potential.
I mean, it came a little bit out of nowhere in the sense that people weren't forecasting a Trump Kim Jong-un, 2.0. Do you like that idea?
Well, I want to know what we're getting out of it. I think President Trump was frustrated last time that Kim Jong-un and the North Koreans were not at all interested in giving up any of their nuclear territory or any of their program. Now, we saw a Wall Street Journal report as recently as last week that they're developing ballistic missiles that can reach as far as the United States, of course, with nuclear warheads. So we've got to do something. I think most people in Washington have just sort of run out of ideas on North Korea. So I don't blame the president for trying to get into a personal diplomacy situation with him. But let's develop some real world objectives, work with the South Koreans and the Japanese, and try to figure out what would be a good way to arrest this problem.
I mean, the president's case that he always makes, is it can't hurt for me to have the guy in my Rolodex, for us to have a channel to communicate via, considering they are a nuclear power. So why does he have to give up anything just to have a meeting with him?
Yeah, I think that's wise. I think the president, though, understands leverage. He's a businessman at the end of the day. I think, and this goes maybe for Putin as well, over time, I think the president's got to put more pressure on both of these authoritarian dictators, if you will, to incentivize them to come to the table and deal with him. I don't know that they want to deal if it's just one-on-one. I think they like the idea of a meeting with the United States. I think the president understands the leverage and will soon begin to put it on both of them.
I don't normally...
Look at Kim Jong-un. Let's go back to Kim Jong. Do you remember when Kim Jong was the laughing stock of the world, basically? Do you remember when Kim Jong-un, he's short, the little fat dude, he has a lot of power in North Korea. He basically took it, if you know the history of Kim Jong-un. But do you remember when he was trying to shoot missiles and his missiles weren't powerful enough to reach the distance to hit anything serious? So he was shooting missiles and they would like fall in the ocean and couldn't make it to the target. And everybody was laughing at him. Kim Jong-un is like a bad, spoiled brat kid that came into power by cutthroat and force. And he has a small little country over there and nobody ever takes him serious. But they try to keep him under wraps just in case if he does come across enough power or get a missile that's strong enough or that has the logistics to reach another country and cause any type of harm. Because if he does get his hands on anything powerful, they won't let him have a nuclear weapon, no way in hell. But he's gonna do something stupid, and they know it. So they kind of watch this dude and keep a watch on him. Let's get back to this video.
A meeting with the United States. I think the president understands the leverage and will soon begin to put it on both of them.
I don't normally do this. I want to go back to the Ukraine topic just real quick before I let you go with a sort of yes or no question. If the president does get this meeting, a trilateral between him, Zelensky, and Putin to work towards this peace deal, who does it help more having President Trump in the room? Does it help Russia or does it help Ukraine more?
I think it helps Ukraine a little bit. I think the president now, because he's working so closely with the Europeans, understands that we just can't outright transfer territory over to the Russians. It's one thing to acknowledge that some of this territory has already gone over to the Russians. I don't expect the Ukrainians ever to formally say we lost it, but it might be a good idea if the president's there, because I think the Europeans convinced him that if you give up this territory, it would be as if we were giving up Florida or New Mexico.
So I want to pause on this map. This is a map of August 23rd, 2025. Asserted Russian control is the red. So you're looking at Kyiv. That's what they've been hitting right over there where that star is at. Kyiv, that's where they've been bombing here lately. Russia has already taken over. Everything that you see is red. And that would be Ukraine's territory. Everything that's outlined in the white. Now, the red with the stripes in it, that's Russia controlled. So assessed Russian control is the red. Russian controlled before February 24th of 2022 is the red with the lines in it. What you see right there by Donetsk. Donetsk. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Everything blue with the line in it is claimed Ukrainian counter-offensives. So counter-offensives, they're fighting back. And Ukraine claimed that they have that under control, counter-offensive. They're fighting back over there, and they're saying that, hey, they're trying to get that, but we're fighting back, and we got control over it, but we are fighting for control over it. We're winning over there to maintain control of it. If we fall short in any type of way, we miss that left hook, or we trying to get the knockout blow. If anything happens like that, then that could be possibly Russia controlled over there. Then you have the black, which says significant fighting in the past 24 hours, which is the black. So let's move this a little bit, because I think everything that's black control, your captions is in the way of it. Yeah, that's the area that's going to be down at the bottom right there. And down at the bottom right of the map, you'll see that. But I can't pronounce these names because I want to say it. But yeah, Kyiv, Sumy, it's in red over there. So that's under assessed Russian control. Russia is trying to take over that whole region over there because Vladimir Putin is highly, highly angry with Zelensky. And we want to take the area back over there in Ukraine. So we will fight. And we don't care if Zelensky begs for $1 billion a month, $1 billion a month. That cannot stop the Russian attack on Zelensky. We will continue to send their drones. Send their drones. Canada wants to send advanced drones and hypersonic missiles. That is nothing. We'll send more drones. We already have advanced drones. over here. And when I sent with Trump to get the deal, Zelensky better bow and kiss the ring, because nothing is going to stop me from taking over Ukraine. Not Zelensky, not Kanye over there in Canada. He needs to pay attention to his citizens, because they're basically starving over there. The cost of living is extremely too high. I'm not worried about the threats of a president whose citizens are starving and the cost of living is too high because he can't maintain the balance of inflation over in Canada. But I will take over Ukraine. Aha! 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 You're giving them a good evil laugh. Man, I don't know if Trump want to make it into heaven, he's going to have to fight harder. He's going to have to come with a better deal. He's going to have to do his work, his magic. Come on, Trump. Let's get this war ended. It don't look like the end is nowhere near in sight. It's just getting started, baby. They kicking up dust over there.
Or New Mexico, or some part of the United States. And I think he understands that maybe that's not the recipe for peace.
Right. That's not a good real estate deal.
Yeah.
Mike Allen, thanks so much for coming in. Great to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
All right, Sean Hannity, we don't give a damn about what you got to talk about. But hey, man, that's your news for today over here at Unk TV. Hit the like button, subscribe, and tune in for more videos coming out over here at Unk TV. And we're out.